Just in time for this Halloween season, we're now joined by Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Red Vest Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports and wearer of the number 48 Lowe's Red Vest costume here in the Texas Motor Speedway Media Center. Can you talk about the Lowe's Red Vest program and what you've got going on today?
On a funny note, Canals is even in one of these, so everybody should leave here immediately and go see it firsthand themselves. So, but then on a serious note, you know, the red race car, wearing the vest, wearing all the red this weekend in general, is to really honor the 260,000 plus employees at Lowe's. They put on the vest every day and go to work and make all the magic happen in the stores. So it's a cool program. You know, I'm of course having a little fun with it. I'm going to wear the vest, and so are the crew guys. But in all seriousness, you know, they're what make it all happen, and it's neat to see Lowe's utilize the relationship from a marketing standpoint, then also internally amongst all their employees, country, or really kind of worldwide now.
Good fun. But if you have a question for Jimmie, please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start over here with Jerry.
Jimmie, Jerry Fraley of Dallas Morning News. To an outsider, it seems like in the first two rounds of the chase, the intensity picked up dramatically from race 1 to race 2. If you agree with that, if you notice that, anything you might attribute it to? Is it people just don't want to get in a bind when they go into that third race?
I really feel like it's the tracks we go to. You know, the tracks kind of create the chaos. Short tracks, tempers flare. You know, there's a whole different element there. There are some tracks that breed cautions and are very treacherous, like Kansas. You have Talladega, and who knows what can happen there. So I honestly feel like the tracks themselves create the drama, or give us the opportunity to live out the drama. Certainly we're the ones turning the steering wheels, and emotions are flaring and making the decisions that we do on the racetrack, but the tracks, the types of tracks, the way you race these tracks, that's what really creates the drama.
We'll go to Tom Jensen next and over to Lee Spencer.
Hi, Jimmie. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. If you look at the lap leaders this season, Harvick's number 1, he's 8th in points. Keselowski's number 2, he's 7th in points. You're number 3, you're out. The guy who's led 41 laps all year long, Ryan Newman, is 2nd in points. As a racer, does this system seem bizarre to you guys?
It has seemed bizarre since the onset. I, though, feel that I need to take a different approach and think of it differently and think of what's good for the sport. And we all have different opinions, and when certain tracks listen to drivers of what we think makes good racing, you go from a 2-race sellout venue at Bristol to now only 1 race sells out. Others have opinions and kind of live out their thoughts, and we see success, you know, rarely. Oftentimes we don't. So this is really being put back in the fans' hands. And at the end of the day, if there are more people tuning in and watching, and we're creating the drama, sponsorship is in the sport, then it's what we need to do. And I made that conscious decision when Brian France called me and told me where things were going for this year. And I understand that from an economic standpoint, tracks, NASCAR, the race teams for sure are in a bind, and we're in a tough situation. So we need to make some change. And this is the decision they made, and we've certainly seen the drama. It seems like attendance is going in the right way, ad buys are going in the right way, TV viewership is up. Is it what we all as racers think should happen, and is it the best way to go about falling back on the history of our sport and determining a champion? No, but we have to pay attention to who's sitting up in the stands, in my opinion.
Okay, we're going to go to Lee, then up front to Kenny, and to the back at Wolfgang.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. So, Jimmie, with no pressure on you going into Homestead, you win the race. You've never won there before. It's, one of the last ones. You're in victory lane, but nobody really gives a damn that you're the winner because everybody's celebrating the championship. You've been in the reverse position of that before. I mean, how do you balance that out?
Well, I've been on the side where I got all the attention, and that doesn't suck. That's a lot of fun. I've never been in that other position, so I don't know how anticlimactic it really is. This year, though, the way the champion's going to be crowned, it's going to put more attention on the championship, I believe, than in years past. The drama, the headlines will all follow that. So I don't know, to be honest. But if I am fortunate enough to win, that's been a track I've always wanted to win at, and to close the year out with a win, I think the team and the individuals involved will have such pride that you won't really notice the outside, I would have to assume, in the eyes that are on you, I think. Oh yeah, I'm still going to party. It'll be a big party.
Go to Kenny next. And
Actually,
then
probably be more fun because NASCAR doesn't own you at 7 o'clock and you have to surface. So you can play your evening much different on Saturday or Sunday night if you just win the race and not the championship.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. You know you'd rather be in the other position.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've gone all night with no sleep, and you guys have seen me on Monday. It isn't pretty, but
That's
sometimes
true.
it's what a champion has to do.
After Talladega and all the fallout from that and everything, I'm sure you were disappointed, but I mean, what else was there any sense of, I don't want to say relief, but it was like, okay, now that pressure's not there anymore. I mean, what was it like coming out of that and knowing going forward you guys weren't a part of the championship picture?
It was a letdown, but to be honest with you, the 2 weeks before that were harder on me and I think the team than Talladega was. And because Talladega is a plate track, I don't think you put a lot of stock in leading the most laps or dominating a race. Yes, it's difficult to do so, but you don't have the as much of a guaranteed outcome as you would at Martinsville if you led all the laps, or Charlotte or something like that. So our peak of frustration was Kansas and Charlotte. It wasn't at Talladega. At Talladega, I felt like I was given an opportunity I've never had in a championship battle before. I had 3 chances to advance, 3 chances to stay in it. And I think my first championship I won, I had 2 bad races and was let back in the way it all played out. But since then, you've had to have like a 5.0 or better average to win the championship. So I truthfully felt like I was given an opportunity that I probably shouldn't have had or would never have had before to be a part of the championship and continue on. So it was relaxed. It's more relaxed now, but pressure shows up in a lot of ways. We now have a 4-race stretch to get our act together for 2015. If we're looking at personnel options, we're looking at the 2015 package. We spent a day and a half in Homestead working on just the 2015 package. So pressure is still there, but it's just in a different shape and form right now.
we're going to go to Wolfgang next, over to Doug, and then to Lewis.
Wolfgang Monser from Germany, Rennsport Press Agency. Jimmy, when you summarize your season so far before the last 3 races, can you maybe point to a race where you say I lost then and then the championship chance, or was it a combination of little things at every race out of the championship title chance?
Yeah, I mean, with such a bad Kansas, Charlotte, and then the poor finish at Talladega, I can't look at just one race. I can look at one thing and say that we didn't have the speed in our cars like we're accustomed to or what we expected to have at the end of the year. Late spring, early summer, we won 3 races in short order. It seemed like we're on the right path, and just wasn't able to sustain that and keep that speed in our cars. So when I look back, that's the thing that stands out to me and is really obvious. But when I look at the 3 races in whatever round, contender round, is that what it was called? Anybody remember? No? Good. I don't either. Challenger round, something like that. The contender, the second round, those 3 races in the second round. Round 2, that's much easier to remember. In round 2, we, this is not just one thing that pops out there. Sorry to be so long-winded.
Let's go to Doug.
Doug Rice, Performance Racing Network. Jimmy, you touched on an interesting topic a moment ago when you were talking about what fans want to see in reference to how the chase is put together this year. What does Jimmie Johnson think fans want to see? What do you perceive that makes them happy when they come to the racetrack or tune in or listen?
It's hard to say all, but the majority want to see wrecks. They want to see arguments. They want to see pushing and shoving after the race, bump and runs. The physical side, the raw emotion is what the majority are after. And again, I'm careful to not say all, and I know my timelines will blow up here with fans that don't want to see that, but I think they're in the minority, and I just feel that the world has changed, the way people view anything and everything is different, and no one has the special sauce. We're all trying to learn and understand what it is, but when a few drivers make a fool out of themselves on the racetrack, there always seems to be a good spike in ratings.
You know what aisle the light bulbs are on, by the way?
No. What's that? Light bulbs? Eyeballs? I'm sorry. Oh, what aisle? I'm sorry, my ears are clearly not working. Aisle light bulbs are on. I see where you're going with it. No, not a clue. I did buy some appliances recently. I can tell you that's in the back corner.
We'll ask about lumber next, but first we got time for 2 more questions. We got Lewis, and then we'll finish out with Steve here up front.
Yeah, Louis Franco Reuters. I promise not to ask about lumber, but you touched upon this, and the answer is different. Aside from being able to party, and aside from checking out people, what does not being running for the championship open up you and Chad to do these next few weeks?
And truthfully, the first thing that comes to mind is just to take the pressure off and have some fun. We haven't had much fun in the last couple months, and we've always performed better when we're having fun and make better decisions in that space. So we're there. We're trying to enjoy these last few races. Unfortunately, Martinsville was kind of short-lived. We had a fast car and down a lap or 2 laps, and then had some damage. And that's our motto this weekend. I mean, go out there and have fun and just try to end the year strong, but be relaxed and get ready for 15.
We're going to actually go up here to the front, the Sky Sports, and then over here to Steve.
Hi, Johnny Herbert, Sky Sports F1. Just come from Austin. Obviously, Formula One is my world. It's my first NASCAR race weekend. What am I going to expect from it?
It's still racing, and at the end of the day, technology drives our sport. Our sanctioning body limits the tools we're able to use at the racetrack, but in our race shops, I think that it would impress most F1 factories, the technology that we have and the way we advance our race cars. So you'll see that aspect and the lack of technology trackside, but I promise you it's really there. And you'll also see NASCAR's efforts to create parity. They really want all 43 cars on the track, and that's another big change, is so many cars on the track. But they really want all 43 cars to have the same opportunity to win the race, and they work hard to create rules and a package on the race car to do that.
Yeah, I need some tips for you. I'm driving a NASCAR tomorrow with Damon Hill, the
Okay.
96 world champion. So
Both of you lost out
what do
there.
I need to do to beat him?
To beat him, well, chances are it's a school car, and they always put a rev chip in the ignition box to
Rev
slow you
chip.
down. So on your way in, just clumsily find your way over near the MSD box and knock the chip out, and I promise you'll go faster.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, we'll finish it out with Steve.
I want to, since you're dressed for the part, what department should Lowe's put you in? What would be the best department for Jimmie Johnson?
Hand me a broom or something. I think I'd be in the way in most situations. I was in store for a function not long ago, and they had me answering phones. And we naturally thought people would realize I was the race car driver, and I answered 5 calls, and no one had a clue who I was. It was awesome.
Did you give them any good advice?
No, they wanted to speak to someone. In fact, I had one on the phone that wanted to speak to the CEO immediately and wanted his personal cell phone number. I'm like, yeah, I have it, but I can't give it to you. So it's been a lot of fun going in stores and from a variety of things, working with the stores in Moore, Oklahoma to help rebuild the neighborhoods that were affected by the big tornadoes. We were just at their big call center in North Wilkesboro last week, working through some things. So we have a lot of fun with them.
Since it's Halloween, have you ever had an embarrassing costume that your parents put you in, or anything you can remember as a kid that you didn't really care much for?
No, my mom was spot on. She did a great job with it. We always had our face painted and were some kind of character, but she did a great job. Spent a lot of time painting my brother and I up, and occasionally we'd come home with like a little blue ribbon or something from the school Halloween contest or whatever it was. So my mom did a good job.
Who were you? Do you remember?
Dracula was a very successful character for us, but I can't give my mom a hard time for dressing me up going to school every day. Had these short little corduroy shorts and like knee-high socks with a stripe on them, and I just saw some pictures recently. I'm like, really? That was in style? How? Don't get it. California thing, I guess.
Boom confetti.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining
Right
us
on.
today,
Thank you.
Jimmy,
Yep.
and have a good weekend.
Thank you. Have fun. Yep.